Slay Nation, it's your host Heather. I'm back with another episode of the So She Slays podcast. And today I'm really excited to jump into this conversation because I feel like we're all going to learn a lot, myself included. I'm talking with Wendy Cole. She is a transition mentor and she helps her clients face any sort of significant life changes. But she's also transgender. So I have like lots of questions for you, and we're going to dive into things because I'm approaching this in the manner of like no one who like of anyone who doesn't really know that much about the trans community at all. So she has already offline given me permission to ask all the questions, any questions that come up, but also thankfully so she's going to correct me if I say something wrong. So I hope you do correct me because I am here learning as well. So, but before we dive into the topic, Wendy, give me a little spiel about yourself.
Okay. It's so nice to be here, Heather, and I'm glad to have finally met you. Um, I've always had a feeling of not belonging. That's defined my entire life. And there are times I didn't even belong to myself. I was born transgender. This is a condition people are born with. It affects us all in varying degrees.
Okay.
In my case, I knew as early as 3 or 4 that there was something very different. And by age 10, I couldn't hold it back and told my parents. So that's what being born transgender how it can affect a person. I transitioned in 2015, living authentically as myself. I couldn't wait. This was like huge. 9 years later, I'm living in complete alignment with who I am and what I need. And I have self-awareness, self-acceptance, and for the very first time in my entire life, self-love. I hated myself and who I was. From age 10 to 2015, I had to repress how I felt about who I am and what I am. And you have no idea the psychological damage that does to a person, the shame, the fear, the guilt.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, I feel it should be a lot less about transitioning from someone I I I wasn't, and more about uh, correcting the condition that I was born with, so I can be who I've always been. That's the way I encourage people to look at this.
Yeah.
After all, as far as gender goes, when the doctor slaps the baby on the bottom and announces it's a boy or a girl, uh-uh. Fortunately, he's right most of the time. He or she is right most of the time. But in my case, they got it all wrong. Gender is not between the legs, it's between the ears.
Okay.
It's
We're
in
gonna
the
dive
mind.
into some topics here. Okay. Now, what I would really like to dive into first, you said you were 3 when you noticed something was different. How? Because look, the argument is a lot of people are just like, how do you know when you're that young? Like, how do you know? So, what was that like?
That was my earliest memory. I don't know where my favorite toy came from, but it was a dolly.
Okay.
Someone had given me a doll.
Okay.
That was my toy. I went everywhere with Dolly. My father came home from work one day, took it away from me, and put Teddy, the teddy bear, instead. And I screamed and made a big fuss over it, and I got spanked repeatedly.
Interesting.
Hey, it's That was the early 1950s.
That would make sense. That tracks.
That
That tracks.
that's that's what they did.
Yeah, that tracks.
And, oh, the next day, I mutilated Teddy. I cut him up with my little paper scissors,
Mhm.
and, I got spanked again that night when my father came home. And, that was my first experience with someone taking something away from me that meant something to me. And distinctly remember my father saying that no son of his was going to play with a doll.
Mhm. Mhm.
My mother had women friends, of course, and I would go with her when, of course, when she went to go visit them, and the majority of them had daughters, and I really enjoyed playing with the girls. It just felt
Mm.
right. It wasn't something that I had words to describe or say, but at 3, 4, and 5, it felt right to play with the girls. I didn't enjoy playing with the boys. And it
Mhm.
wasn't a matter of forcing me or any of that, because as I got older and proceeded to get older, um, Cub Scouts, Little League, my father would push me and force me into that world, and I resisted the entire time. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. It didn't feel right.
Mm.
But I also, too, as I started in school and started seeing there was girls and boys,
Yeah.
and there are obvious differences,
Mhm.
both in how they interact with one another and the things they do and the things they play with.
Yeah.
I was always more comfortable with the girls. It wasn't logical, it wasn't something that I dreamed up, and it wasn't a choice.
Okay.
This is not a choice. It's who I was born as. It's how my brain developed in the second trimester of birth when sexual differentiation begins. My body went male,
Mhm.
my brain went female.
Mhm.
That's the best way that I can describe it.
Okay.
So by age 10, I could not hold it back. I
Mm.
was praying for help from my mother, not understanding she was a typical 1950s housewife.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're 10. What kind of concept does that? I mean, yeah.
Right. So she wasn't about to go against my father.
Mhm.
He was the ultimate ruler of everything having to do with the family. My
Mm.
mother didn't have a job or a checking account or a credit card or anything until the 1970s.
I mean, that was typical. I don't think it was legal until 64, maybe, I think is when women could have
Mhm,
a checking account or something like that.
mhm. And I know from another family member that I met at my father's graveside, my half sister that I knew nothing about. Um,
Wendy, you got some stories.
oh, yeah. And I knew from her that my father considered women to be property.
That tracks for the time.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So over the last 9 years, I've done a lot of personal development and a lot of work on myself in order to get to where I am, and also in order to understand the people that I work with. I've done a lot of research and a lot of internal work on me as well.
Mm.
And um, part of that involves um, forgiveness. I've
Okay.
forgiven my parents. I've forgiven the doctors they took me to. The first psychiatrist I was ever taken to was at age 10. And of course, he talked to my parents, not me.
Of course, of course.
And
Can I ask, when
sure.
you were 10 and you were trying to, get your mother's help, what was going through your head? Like, what was it at 10 that you were like, I just can't handle this anymore? Mom, I think I'm different. Was it like that? Or what was that? moment like? Because again, a lot of people are like, well, 10 years old is really young. How are you going to sit here and tell me that this? Like, I know lots of girls
Mhm.
who want to play with boys all the time or, play sports. So it's like, can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Um, Back then, we didn't have Amazon, of course. uh, we
Amazon's
had the
recently developed.
we had the Montgomery Ward catalog and the Sears and Roebuck catalog,
Mhm.
and you put your order in a envelope and you mailed it through the post office. And someday you got your package. Anyway, I used to spend a lot of time secretly, of course, looking at the catalogs
Mhm.
in the girls section because
Mhm.
what I felt like.
Gravitated towards.
That's what I was looking at, and I was raised in a Methodist family
Mhm.
in the church, Sunday school, the whole bit. So I would pray every night as I was falling asleep, and occasionally cry myself to sleep, wishing that I'd wake up in the morning. My body would be correct. I'd be a girl, and my closet would be filled with pretty dresses and skirts and shoes, and I would be a
Mhm.
girl. That's how I felt. That never left me all through childhood.
Mm.
It never left me even through my adult
I was
life.
gonna say through your adult life, because it seems like in the last 9 years things have just really kind of come full circle a little bit.
Well, um, at 10, I would dress in whatever I could find that my mother had that fit me and do my makeup because I watched her and observed her. I would do whatever I could with makeup. I even did my nails. And I would sit and wait for her to come home from grocery shopping.
What
And
was she supportive in all of this?
uh, let's put it this way, the worst that she said to me was, "You'll have to go get out of that." And I'd say, "No, I'm a girl. This is how I want to
Mm.
be." And she'd say to me, "Well, you have to get out of that before your father comes home."
She knew.
And I'd help her put away the groceries and do all of that. My ex wife has told me several times in conversation that she knows from her conversations with my mother that my mother would have loved to have had a daughter. So my mother would have been accepting of me, I feel. My father,
Mm.
never.
Mm.
He went to great lengths to have a son.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story unto itself.
Like I said, Wendy, you got stories. You got stories. So, I
And
mean, okay. So, growing up, what was it like? I mean, what did you face this? I mean, you kind of already described it. It's like, what was it like then 20s, 30s? Because I feel like
oh,
you haven't this is
well,
your transition, all of this full circleness has not it's relatively, recent that all of
right.
this has come full circle. So I feel like you've lived a life
Uh huh.
that was always suppressed. Um,
Very much so.
so can you paint this
Um,
picture for us, for those of us who just don't know?
mhm. Um, at the first experience with a psychiatrist, he told my parents, "Oh, this is just a little transvestism boys experiment. It's perfectly normal. He's too young to diagnose as transsexual."
Mm,
And so once he has a career, he has a wife, he has a house, he has a family, he'll forget all about being a girl. I spoke up and said, "No, I'm a girl." I was taken from the room. Five sessions with the psychiatrist. My parents mainly were the ones that were in the session. I sat and waited, and on the way home, my mother turned to me, and this hurt particularly because she was the one I was hoping would help me with this.
mm-hmm.
But instead, she turned, and she was the one to deliver the message. You will forget all about this. You will change your ways. You will not even consider doing anything that you've been doing before. And if you don't, we're going to take you back to the psychiatric center and have you committed and fixed. Committed and fixed.
What's that
Scared the
mean? I mean,
hell
I know
out of
what
me
committed means, but what do you mean by fixed?
that they would do something that would make me
Ooh,
no
that's I
longer
feel like
feel
that was
like a girl.
back in the day where electroshock therapy was a thing.
You got it. So I went into a deep depression, repressing this as best I could. And when I when I say this, this is for your audience. This does not go away. And
Mm,
it's with you from the moment you wake up in the morning till the time you go to bed. If you have
mm,
never looked in the mirror and questioned your whole identity, you can't possibly understand, and I don't expect people to understand that.
mhm,
It's something that's very deep, internal, how I was born,
mhm,
and it's common to most of us in varying degrees.
mm,
And from age 10 through high school and everything, I was definitely not. Um, I was definitely not social. I wasn't happy. I was a pretty miserable person.
yeah.
So the end result was, um, I just uh, hit it. I just pushed it down as far as I could and did everything I could to try and get through. I even forced myself to go to an all men's college.
How did that go?
Not well. I found I didn't fit in at all.
Mm, gosh,
So,
what a feeling of just like being othered your entire life and never feeling like anybody understood you at all.
well, 1970, my senior year of college, I was getting ready to graduate. That's another big life change.
Mhm.
And I just decided I can't deal with this anymore. This is
Yeah.
just too painful. It never goes away. It's a secret that I have to hide, and I can't talk to anybody about it.
Yeah.
So I got a psychiatrist,
Okay.
and I actually started, you know, I bought clothes. I started coming out to people from my apartment building where I was living off campus
Yeah.
and my off campus friends.
Okay.
And this all was going along quite nicely. My psychiatrist decided he was going to take me as a um, patient case
Okay.
to
Like
a
like
group meeting, quarterly meeting of a group of psychiatrists in the area. So there was about 15 to 20 psychiatrists
so
in this hospital.
you were a case study.
Case study. That was the word I was looking for.
Dang.
And um, I'm in this hospital conference room with about 15 to 20 psychiatrists, and I start talking.
Mhm.
I'm scared. I'm presenting as male
Yeah.
because this was the 1970s in New York State, where I would be arrested for appearing in public as female,
Damn. Okay.
even in New York City.
Okay.
So I'm there talking, and less than 5 minutes in, psychiatrist stands up, big tall guy,
Mhm.
and says, "Well, I'll see all you folks next quarter." Looks at me and goes, "You're a freak. You should move to New York City and turn tricks like the rest of them." I was crushed. That's devastating.
Yeah.
It ended the meeting and it ended me. My next session with my psychiatrist, he explained to me that this is a condition that you're born with that is not treatable and no cure. It's
Whoa.
called transsexualism.
Okay. Definitely have come
Okay.
leaps and bounds since then, although we still have further to go.
Well,
Okay.
that got pushed. I pushed that all the way down. I decided, okay, everybody's been preaching at me, my parents, any doctors that I've talked to, whatever. Um, get a career,
Yeah. You go down the
get a
traditional
wife,
path, quote unquote.
take the traditional path, give that a shot. I tried everything else,
Yeah. So you're like, why
and
not conform to what society expects out of me?
right. And 4 years into marriage, that didn't work either.
Mm.
Um, I was talking in my sleep about being a woman. My wife demanded an explanation. I decided, okay, I was going through a world of stress. We finally had a house. We had two kids.
Jeez.
uh, it was the whole middle class family routine.
Yeah.
And I was overwhelmed. I just couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
And the stress and the anxiety, the fear, I finally just confessed it all to her one night because she woke me up in my sleep saying, "You're talking about being a woman. What's going on?" So I told her, figuring we'd be divorced by morning. And morning came, and much to my amazement, she said, "We're going to stay together as long as you don't do anything about this." And okay, so now I still have a secret and I still got to hold it down and I can't talk about it. But this is the way it is. And a few weeks later, she offered, well, if it will relieve the stress, you can cross dress. Well, cross dressers happen to make up a huge block of the transgender community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And uh, that wasn't me. I tried it. I hated it. Absolutely.
Mm.
I
Why
cried at the
why
end of
did you hate it? It is like because us who do not know the block of this, but
hmm
it like I mean obviously we know the difference of, cross-dressing, transgender, but it like what exactly is the trigger in your head that you were like I hate this?
I had to take everything off.
It was like you were dressing up.
hmm And that wasn't me.
Mm.
When I was when I was dressed and presenting as female, that was me. I was happy.
Mm.
I and again, no, I couldn't go out of the house. I couldn't even leave my room.
Yeah.
So again, it was kind of useless. It was a
Mhm. Mhm.
it was an
So
emotional up
shameful.
and down that I didn't need.
Mhm.
So from I would say, aside from the brief time where my wife at the time and I discussed this, just omit that. From 1970 until 2015, that's 45 years. I hid this.
Oy.
I never even talked to anyone about this until my first therapy session in January of 2015.
Mm.
So that's 45 years of hiding and repressing, shame, fear, guilt, and fighting this. And we use a lot of things to keep this down. My whole career was in tech,
Yeah.
computers. I started in the
That's a
70s in
male-dominated
computers,
industry.
back when computers were mainframes, is
Yeah.
when I started. And I wound up ending my tech career as a consulting developer, designer, making systems for corporations to use globally over intranets.
Okay.
And it was the type of work where I could immerse myself completely into the computer screens for 10, 12, 14
Makes
hours
sense.
a day and kind of lose track of what my mind was telling me. It
Okay.
was a way of repressing. I had other ways of repressing,
Mhm.
things that I would do, hobbies. I was into woodworking and cabinet
Mhm.
making
Mhm.
and
Keep him
fine
busy.
carpentry.
Keep him
It's
busy.
just something to help repress it. So What triggered everything for 2015 was I was ready to kill myself. I had numerous
I don't
times.
doubt it. 45 years of that?
Yeah,
I don't doubt
and
it.
fighting it for a total of 67 because I was 67 when I started this.
Wow.
I went online instead of killing myself. I had everything all set up. I had a whole collection of psych meds because
Mm.
my wife suggested in the 90s that I see a psychiatrist. All through the 80s, I smoked pot
Mhm.
to deal with this.
Mhm.
Um, uh, Within the community, drugs are not uncommon as a
I
way
wouldn't
of dealing
imagine
with this.
so if you're trying to escape, find some sort of
Hmm.
escape or numbness or anything.
Hmm.
Like that would
So
absolutely make sense.
I found out that psychiatrists were more than willing to prescribe medications based on whatever you said, as long as you were relatively convincing and you were willing to make appointments and come back for refills. So
Well,
I
that's not a
existed
capitalist
from the
society.
I existed through the 90s, through the early 2000s, and up to 2015 on psych meds. A whole collection for morning, noon, and night.
Oh my goodness.
And again, that takes a toll
Yeah.
emotionally and everything. I was living in a fog. It was amazing that I even had a successful career in tech. But
Yeah. I mean, Wendy, I'm listening to all of this and I'm just like, "Jiminy Christmas. This is
uh-huh.
so much."
Well, I often wondered, especially now after the 9 years of living as Wendy,
Yeah.
and I've often wondered what would my life have been like had I didn't have to deal with this, because I'm a very, very different person
Mm.
now.
Well, I would
Uh,
assume so, having to go through all that.
um, I did find out when I went online and checked that in 2012, everything had been updated in the DSM, and WPATH had put out a new standard, and that this was now considered a condition that I was born with, and it's treatable. Wow, what a novel idea!
Oh my
Finally
goodness.
treatable by
How did that feel
therapy.
to you after you kind of did a little bit of research and you saw all this stuff and now you're acknowledged, like this is acknowledged. What did that feel like?
Heather, I was beside myself with this. I saw it had changed therapy, hormone therapy, and any necessary surgeries were now possible for me.
Mm.
I literally ran upstairs from my room to my wife, who was in the family room, and I said, "Remember what we talked about in 1978?" Uh huh. Well, it never went away. And now I know I can
Surprise,
do
it's still
something about
here.
it. Now I know I can do something about it. And I said to her, I'm going to look for a therapist, one
Mm.
who will work with me.
Yeah.
And my first therapy appointment was in January of 2015. I was just getting ready to turn 67 years old. And I walked into therapy scared, nervous. I had picked Stephanie because her picture, there was something about her eyes and her look that just connected with me. I loved her profile. She was very, very zen, very
Yeah. Open.
uh, open feeling. It just resonated with me. So, and first session, Heather, I just poured my guts out. It was about an hour and 10-minute session, something like that. She was the first person I'd talked to since 1970.
And I
That's
think like
45
yeah.
years.
I mean,
And
geez, what that's built up.
and to my joy, as I got up to leave and I turned to say something to her, and she's sitting there with my file folder still on her lap,
Mm-hmm.
And she said to me, "What's your name?" And I immediately snapped back, "Wendy." And
Oh.
to my joy, she crossed out my male facsimile's name. That's what I call him, my
Mm-hmm.
male
Mm-hmm.
facsimile or my male representative. And crossed out that name and wrote Wendy on my file. She was the first person in 67 years of my life to ever hear me and accept me without any need for explanation.
Oh my gosh. That is
That was
that is so touching.
huge. That
Oh.
was just such a huge, huge thing for me.
Oh.
And by my third session, I had decided on our second session, by my third, I was going to go as Wendy. I was going to have a dress. It was winter time,
Yeah.
and we were in Pennsylvania, so I was going to have a long winter coat, uh, low heels, but heels, and look like any other woman going to an office job that day. And I was going to therapy as Wendy.
Oh
So,
goodness. What a way to be seen.
and a lot of the work that I started doing with Stephanie from our very first session on, she got me back into my hippie days of meditation, mindfulness. I started doing a lot of research and reading on how do I control my thoughts,
Yeah.
because it's my thoughts that are giving me all these problems.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I don't have to repress them anymore, what do I do to actually feel better? Because that's what it's all about. It's about
Yeah.
feeling better.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of meditations and a lot of focus on visioning what it would feel like to go to my first therapy session in a dress.
Mm.
How would I feel driving the car? How would I feel walking across the parking lot, hearing my shoes on the pavement? There was a big glass door of the building, highly reflective. I would see myself as I walked down the path. How would that feel? And I just focused on feeling good about all of that. It worked.
Oh.
It really works.
Oh my goodness.
I completely shifted all the thoughts of, I can't do this. Oh, this is going to be. No, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to be in the right mindset to do it.
Oh my. Okay.
And
So I kind of want to. I have questions. I have questions. Now that I kind of like understand, or at least you told me your story and I can understand it to the best of my ability.
right.
I want to kind of talk about what I want to bust some myths. Is really what I want to do.
Okay, good.
Probably give a little bit more perspective uh on what it actually is, because again, in our community, in our society, in our political society, all this kind of stuff, it's transgender, transitioning, all of this kind of stuff is very buzzwordy. um
Hmm.
it invokes the wildest of behaviors sometimes. And I feel like now's our chance to kind of address some of these things, right? And like
Hmm.
really just kind of give for real life experience and perspective.
Hmm.
So, She Slays is not political at all, but I figure you're the best person to ask these questions to.
Hmm.
You're the best person to ask. So, when it comes to kids saying transition wise, or like they feel like a girl, they feel like a boy, whatever which way it goes. Um, and I'm assuming too, it's not always black and white. Like I feel like this boy, or I feel like a girl. I'm assuming that there's a little bit of a spectrum here.
Oh, yes.
So for the people that are just like, I don't understand the the gender biologically, what you were born with, can only be two things. What do we need to, as people who've either not knowingly met a trans person or gone through something like this, or even heard of some, or you've talked to somebody, right, who's gone through these experiences, what do we need to understand about that argument that people put forth?
Okay. First of all, gender is not between the legs, it's
Okay.
between the ears.
Explain.
I was never a man in the normal sense of what you define a man as. Um, I always felt like I was a female.
Mm-hmm.
That was up here in my mind. My anatomy was just the physical representation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I had to have corrected.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and this is not something that's a choice, it's a feeling.
I was gonna say, I don't know who the heck would choose to go through all the things that you've gone
Well,
through. Like,
I had a close friend who we were both in the community. We were both living as women,
mm-hmm.
and she would say to me, "I'd never wish this on my worst enemy."
I
And
don't
she's
blame you.
absolutely right. And but when I was finally able to do something about it with medical support, start hormone therapy, testosterone blockers, and start injecting estrogen. And in 2017, I had surgery at NYU Medical Center,
Mm-hmm.
which was wonderful. Finally, my birth defect was corrected. That's how I always
Mm-hmm.
looked at it. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
This is the whole thing with society and transgender. It's politically being used by one specific party as a wedge issue.
Mm-hmm.
What they do with that is people who don't understand what this is, they can invoke fear
Yeah.
on the part of their followers, fear of somebody who is different.
Mm.
And with that fear, it's very easy to form a group and have hatred.
Mm.
And you're united against somebody who's different. We don't understand them. We don't even know anybody like this. But oh God, yeah, we can't have them in our society.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why I've started doing these podcasts,
As you
is to
should.
put everything out there. I'm open, candid, and I want people to at least be exposed to the reality, not what the politicians and the so-called religious people put out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, explain to me then this spectrum, the trans spectrum, because
The
you kind of mentioned it
transgender,
a few times.
yep, the transgender community, it's very different. We're LGBT, but what I discovered was the G definitely doesn't really understand the T. I had I had in my first apartment complex, I had three neighbors on my street, gay couples.
Mm-hmm.
First couple I met were Chad and Jason. They'd left flowers at my door on a Saturday night. Welcome to the neighborhood, Chad and Jason, number 15. I went down and I introduced myself to them on a Sunday evening when they came home at about 9 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I introduced myself. I confirmed that I was in fact transitioning, not a
Mm-hmm.
cisgender woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened up the conversation with, I'm an open book, ask anything you want, and nothing is off limits.
Mm-hmm.
Jason said, you shouldn't have said that in front of Chad. And
Dad's
he
like, "Well,
did.
I got some questions."
He asked all kinds of questions. It was great. I loved it. We
Okay.
talked until 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
That was my first exposure to other people in the LGBT world.
Mhm.
Before that, I'd lived in straight society, period,
Mhm.
and had
Mhm.
very little exposure to anything LGBT.
Yeah.
Within the T's, there's a range of gender spectrums. And I believe from everything that I've read, and people that I've met and talked with and all over the last 9 years, that being born transgender affects each of us differently,
Mm.
to one degree or another. Um, there are people on one extreme of on the one extreme of the spectrum of transgender who identify as non-binary.
Okay.
They don't subscribe to any gender. I
Mhm.
met some people in New York City that, were it not for the physical stature, you'd never know
Mm.
which gender they were.
Mm.
And
Okay.
okay, I get it. I personally, being in the same community, I I get it. It's not me.
Yeah.
Um, I've met people who were gender fluid. That's kind of the next rung up on the ladder,
Mhm. Mhm.
if you will. And gender fluid. I had a friend who could change physical appearance
Oh, wow.
in her car between client calls, and she would go from male to female 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Wow.
And she was perfectly comfortable in
In
either,
both.
in both. And
Hmm.
it always amazed me because I could never do that.
I mean, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for sure. I was
Well,
like, "Dang, that's a talent." I
she'd
feel
be
like
in,
that's almost a
she'd
little
be
bit of
in,
a talent.
she would be in front of people dealing with financial stuff
Mhm.
in a meeting as a guy with a deep voice, out in their
Mm.
car, back in a dress and heels, and looked perfectly feminine and went out to lunch.
Whoa.
Then you get into the cross dressing community.
Okay.
This, by and large, is the largest part of the community traditionally.
Okay.
Uh, a lot of I would say the majority of the men in this part of the community never want to be women.
Mhm.
They don't want to give up their male privilege.
Mhm.
They're relatively okay with living as guys and getting by.
Mhm.
In fact, feel quite good about it. It's just, it's that thing that is inside you that you need to take care of occasionally, which is what my wife at the time did for me, trying to be supportive. And I understood that. It just didn't work for me because that's not who I am.
Yeah.
But I've known guys who would cross dress and come to go out to dinner with their wives as women.
Wow.
And I was invited by one person to meet his wife. And I'm sitting there talking with his wife for about 45 minutes over dinner and stuff. And I get up to go to the ladies' room. I come back, and uh, the wife looks at me and goes, "Wow, I had no idea. She just told me you transitioned." And I said, "Oh, thank you." But yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And she said, "Great." We talked about it, and uh, I wound up taking her husband
Mhm.
out for the day to get a new wig at the shop that I would go to.
Oh my god, I
To
love the open-mindedness of, like, these people.
Yeah, well, see, there's nothing wrong with this. It's something that he needed to do to feel like her for
Mm.
3, 4 days, a weekend with other like-minded people together in a fun area. That's all he needed. He
So it
didn't need to do what I did.
Yeah. So this is what I'm hearing is that it's just everybody is just different in that factor. It's like what they need to feel this need or to acknowledge or to quote unquote be seen is just an array of different things.
Right.
Uh
And within the transsexual part of the community,
huh.
which is where I am,
Mm-hmm.
um, there's again some distinctions.
Okay.
There are no rules about what you do when you transition. Um, you have the option to have hormone therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You have the option to have surgeries,
Mm.
and people can pick and choose, and they do. They pick and choose what they feel they need to do.
Yeah.
Um, I knew I needed to have my genital area
Uh-huh.
uh, do the surgery.
Yeah.
That was something I dreamed of since childhood.
Wow.
And
Well,
now it's finally real. I literally ran into NYU Medical Center at about 5:30 in the morning. Couldn't wait to sit there and wait for surgery.
okay.
They took me in at 6:30. I was done by early afternoon. And the only thing I remember is they asked me what my pain level was. I said, oh, about 3. Okay. At a real Dr. Rachel Blubond was a great surgeon
mm.
and really good technique, everything. I went to a gynecologist visit in Princeton, New Jersey
Wow.
for one of my first gynecology GYN visits. And I told the girl who was asking me all these detailed
Uh-huh.
questions about my last period, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, no, hey, we'll simplify the question and answer part. This was surgically created. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I expected she would have told the doctor, but she didn't. The doctor comes in, starts the exam with the
Mhm,
speculum and
mhm,
everything.
mhm.
And she looks at me and she goes, when did you have your hysterectomy? That's what my surgeon told me it would look like to a gynecologist. Everything else
Wow.
looks perfectly real,
Oh my god.
perfectly
I
normal.
I feel like I've learned so much, Wendy. I feel like
And
you really can I mean, you and I can talk for, like, hours, I feel like,
mhm,
because you've lived gosh, if there's ever
well,
a strong woman.
when it comes to choice, a lot of people in my part of the community
Mhm.
choose not to do that surgery
Yeah.
because that's their favorite sex organ.
Okay.
Okay. So, all this hang up that people have as to what's between your legs, that's irrelevant.
Mm,
Unless you're going to actually have a physical relationship with them, you don't need to know that.
true,
And it's none of your business.
true. Facts.
And it doesn't make any difference in terms of who they are as people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get across is these are all people that were born differently and it's not their fault. And that's the other thing I do is I do work with parents of
Yeah.
transgender people because first thing they think of is what did we do to cause this?
I
We
know, it
didn't do
drives me
anything.
insane. I'm like, not everything's about you. Like,
Uh-huh.
not everything that your child is doing or going through or whatever is about you.
Exactly. This is how they were born. The best thing you can do for them is accept them
Mhm.
without any need to understand.
Mm,
Just accept.
I love that.
And one of the things I tell parents is because it was true of me, it was the scariest thing in my life to tell my mother and my father that I was a girl.
Oh, I bet.
That takes so much from that person to say that. And I have firsthand experience with that too.
Mm. I can
But
only imagine. I mean, the judgment, the ridicule, like you
mhm,
said, who would want to go through that? Like who
right,
who willingly volunteers for that?
exactly.
Oh, Wendy.
And
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, within the transsexual part of the community, there are variations as to who does what surgically, medically, and all of that. And the one thing that I see that is a difference between people is how much work they do
Mm,
in order to achieve some good degree of self awareness and especially self acceptance and self love.
mm,
That is so important as to whether or not you're able to actually. I've had to go through and do a lot of deconstruction
mm-hmm.
of my male socialization.
Oh, that makes sense.
Uh, and the only way that you can build back up again is accepting yourself for who you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I work with people on is helping them accept themselves so
Yeah.
that they can build back up. And I also teach the mannerisms and behaviors. And there's a world of difference between men and women that way.
Facts. You don't even got to tell me that one. Like I know that one. The difference is ginormous. Um.
And today, in today's world and society, with the amount of hatred out there and everything else, I have a very dear friend in Tennessee, and this year alone, she's gotten 8 death threats.
Oh
She's the
no.
manager of a store, a national chain, and she's gotten 8 death threats so far this year. The thing that I emphasize not only with myself, my goal was blend into society as any other woman,
Mm,
and on a daily basis I can do that
yeah.
with no problems whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
um, and that's the best defense that we have.
Mm,
And with my friends, I'm very open. They
mm-hmm.
know my whole story, everything
Mm-hmm.
about my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't start out that way. I let them get to know me as a person first.
Yeah.
And at some point, it could be within a matter of hours, days, or weeks. But at some point, once I know that they're going to be part of my life or in my life, that's when I look for an opportunity and I just reveal everything.
Yeah.
And what I've discovered is that even if they had preconceived ideas,
Mm-hmm.
um, from watching news or reading things that are published about us that are BS,
Yeah.
uh, uh, with me revealing like that after they get to know me, it's much easier conversation. It's very
Humanizing. Yeah,
difficult to hate
humanizing.
somebody
Yeah.
when you actually know them.
Facts. Oh my goodness. Facts. Wendy, I feel like you and I can kind of talk forever about this kind of stuff because I feel like you're a wealth of knowledge. Um, but to wrap this up, where can
Okay.
people contact you, find you, reach out, anything like that?
Meetwendycole.com.
Okay.
There's my newsletter there, my calendar is there, and a link to my other main website is
Mm-hmm.
there. But
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story and being open enough to kind of let me ask these kind of questions. But yeah, I'm hoping that people hear your story and a few things happen. Either they're going through something similar, they know somebody, you can be a resource, or you're a resource of information. And being able to hear somebody else's story and understand to the best of your ability. We'll never be able to understand fully because we don't live that experience, but we can at least be
Right.
empathetic and at least, understand that you are a person as well.
Thank you, Heather.
Wendy,
And
thank
you've
you
done
so much.
great.
Oh, well, thank you. I've been very in I was definitely really listening to like everything that you were saying and I was like, gosh, this just like really reminds me of anybody who like kind of just goes through this period of never fitting in or being ridiculed or shamed or anything like that. It's like nobody wants to go through that. No one wants to
Mhm.
volunteer for something like that. So yeah, that's just something to kind of keep in mind for everybody who's listening. But thank you so much for joining us, Wendy. I really appreciate it. And Slay
Okay.
Nation, thank you so much for listening. I know that this one was a little bit of a long one, but thanks for sticking in with us. Until next time, we'll catch you later.